Thank you for coming to Starbright Storytime. This is the Week 3 book review. Some wonderful stories that were covered and beautiful illustrations. The first book was Chicken Licken. This book has outstanding illustrations. This was written by Kenneth McLeish with pictures by Dutton. Absolutely gorgeous, vibrant colors here in this book. A lot of inspiration for your little ones. If you have any interest, or your child has any interest in animals or farm life, this makes a great contribution to your child's personal library. The next book, Bonhomme and the Huge Beast by Laurent de Brunhoff. This book also has a very different style of illustration, but wonderful illustrations nonetheless. Cute story of hope and friendship with a little fantasy painted into the storyline. This book would make a great gift. Also, we had The Bear's Toothache, written and illustrated by David McPhail. This book, I feel, has illustrations that are a little unusual. It's the particular style of illustration, but they are rather wonderful line drawings. I think that's a lot of cross sketching. A lot of fantasy. It's a great bedtime story for children. This is a good bedtime read. The Bear's Toothache by David McPhail. And then the next book was What Do You Do with a Kangaroo by Mercer. Another book with lots of different animal types. It is a story. It's very creative, wonderful art. It's a story of standing up for oneself to the best of one's abilities. A lot of animals come into the storyline. Very creative and fantastical storyline. It's a bit of a story about perseverance, as I said previously, standing up for oneself, and knowing your limits. Beautiful storybook. This book also is a great bedtime story. These two are wonderful bedtime stories. As children often try to find distractions to avoid sleep, anything to get into bed. Both stories here, The Bear's Toothache as well as What Do You Do with a Kangaroo, sort of touch on that persistent determination of a child to come up with excuses to stay awake. Both wonderful books. Both would make great gifts. I'm pretty sure that What Do You Do with a Kangaroo by Mercer is still in print. I'm not quite sure about The Bear's Toothache. And then finally, there is this book called The King Who Reigned by Gwynne. It's really a beautiful picture book about, I believe they're called malapropisms. Just a wonderfully illustrated depiction of how children have a tendency to misinterpret words and ideas that are conveyed by adults. It also brings up or presents an opportunity to talk about different ways with your children that they understand their world. Daddy says next time he paints the house, he's going to give it 2 coats. This child's depiction or understanding of the sentence is unique, but it's not wrong. And this little picture book, large picture book, gives a parent or guardian the opportunity to discuss how words can have dual meanings and sometimes more, and how words can be used to convey different concepts. Beautiful art in this book as well. It almost looks like the author who also illustrated this book used crayon or colored pencil to create the art, and that can inspire your children even more to get creative if they have a preference for crayon. Those are the books for the week. The publisher's info is listed in the description box. There is one book that I do not have in front of me that was in the collection of books I read this week. It was called Say Hello to Zorro, written and illustrated by Goodrich. And it belonged to someone else when I had the opportunity to read it. That was a wonderful story about how 2 individuals can get along. 2 dogs under the same roof. One who had an established domain and the other one was new, a new addition to the family. And though the storybook specifically was the story about 2 dogs living under the same roof, it's also a good book to use when you are introducing the concept of a new child entering your household. So if you have one child and you are considering expanding your family, it can give a creative outlet to the mind of the child as a way to accept the introduction of a new little person, a new brother or sister that enters the family home, and how two is better than one and sharing is more fun. All of the information will be listed in the description box. Thank you for coming to my channel, Starbright Storytime.